Running a Fever, episode 431, Hot Flashes, Cold Truth, part 6, Reclaiming Power, Menopause as a New Beginning. Welcome to Running a Fever. My name is Michael Davis, and this is a show about fitness, diet, and medicine, and it's all about living long and loving life. It's part 6 about our series on menopause, and today we're closing out our series with something bold, beautiful, and deeply personal, reclaiming power. Menopause is often framed as an ending, the end of fertility, the end of youth, the end of vitality. But what if it's actually a beginning? What if this transition is an invitation to rewrite your story, rediscover your voice, and realign with what truly matters? In this episode, we're flipping the script. You'll hear stories of reinvention, creativity, and courage. We'll talk about how menopause can spark new purpose, new passions, and even new careers. Because this isn't about fading, it's about evolving. So whether you're in the thick of it, just beginning, or looking back with wisdom, this episode is for you. Let's reclaim the narrative. Let's reclaim our power. I'd like to continue the practice of offering real-life stories to bring these concepts down to earth. Here are some examples of women who have turned menopause into something positive. Here's Kelly Preedy's story. I'd worked in loads of stressful jobs in the past and prided myself on being able to cope. But that was before I had to deal with raging hormone fluctuations and incredibly heavy periods that would appear without warning. I didn't talk to anyone about it at work, as I didn't think anyone would understand. Something had to give, and so it was with a heavy heart that I stepped away from my career of 30 years. Then the most amazing thing happened. I'd been working part-time at a local boutique to give myself some breathing space and got furloughed because of the pandemic. With nothing else to do, I decided to pick up my paintbrushes for the first time in 30 years and started to paint pictures of my old childhood toys. I immediately felt comforted and at peace. I showed my paintings to my friends and soon got requests from them and family to paint portraits for them as gifts. Early this year, I set myself the challenge of painting a small picture of something from Instagram every day. I started selling them, and soon people were asking me to paint things for them, mainly their pets, which was fine with me as I love animals, especially dogs. I've now set myself up as a pet portrait artist, taking commissions and selling originals through Instagram. At Kelly Preedy Creative is my handle. It's early days yet, but I am slowly building a strong following and enjoying regular commissions. I've never been so happy. And here's the experience of Fiona Whitfield, a personal fitness trainer from the UK. Honestly, I would say menopause is a good thing. I'm grateful for it in so many ways. It's enabled me to ask, who am I? What do I want to be? And what do I want to do with my life? I've started cold water sea swimming, for example. I decided work less, swim more was a better way to live. And I've been dating 21st century style using dating apps. I've even got involved in writing a book. My relationship with myself has completely changed too. I used to really beat myself up, and now there's a respect and even a love I didn't have before. If I could gift that to every woman, that would be a wonderful thing. Let's start with a truth that doesn't get said enough. Menopause is not a decline, it's a doorway. For generations, menopause has been framed as the end of something, the end of fertility, the end of youth, the end of relevance. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if menopause is actually a beginning? This phase of life, often marked by hormonal chaos and emotional upheaval, is also a time of deep clarity. It's when many people start asking, what do I really want? What do I need? What have I been putting off? And here's the magic. When the noise of external expectations quiets down, your inner voice gets louder. You start to hear your own truth. You start to reclaim your time, your energy, your body, your boundaries. This isn't just about surviving menopause. It's about using it as a catalyst for growth, for reinvention, for power. Many people have launched businesses, written books, started movements, all after menopause. Let's explore how creativity, courage, and clarity often bloom in this season of life, because when the old story ends, a new one begins, and you get to write it. There's something remarkable that happens when the dust of hormonal change begins to settle. A kind of clarity, a creative spark, a sense of now or never. Many people report that post-menopause, they feel more confident, more curious, and more willing to take risks. Why? Because the pressure to please, to perform, to fit into someone else's mold starts to fade. And what's left is you, raw, real, and ready. This isn't just anecdotal. Research shows that the brain undergoes a kind of rewiring during menopause. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and grow, doesn't stop in midlife. In fact, it can accelerate when we're no longer juggling reproductive cycles and caretaking roles. During menopause, a drop in estrogen influences the brain, but the brain responds by creating new neural connections and pathways to compensate for these changes. Increased brain activity can also occur. The brain may show increased blood flow and energy production in certain areas to compensate for hormonal shifts. In fact, in postmenopausal women, the gray matter volume was similar to that of males of the same age and increased over the next 2 years. Creativity isn't just about art. It's about problem solving, dreaming, building, and expressing. It's about asking, what do I want to create with the time I have left? Menopause can be a portal, not just to physical change, but to creative rebirth. So if you've been feeling the stirrings of something new, a project, a passion, a purpose, listen to that. It's your power speaking. Let's talk about reinvention. Menopause can feel like a storm, unpredictable, intense, sometimes isolating. But storms clear the air. They make space. And in that space, something new can grow. People use this phase of life to completely reimagine who they are and what they do, not in spite of menopause, but because of it. Neuroscientist Lisa Mosconi wrote in an article on Oprah Daily, "At some point in my research, I came across the term menostart as an alternative to menopause. This word seems apt for many women who experience this life transition as a turning point, after which their interests, priorities, and attitudes shift in a positive way. A second adulthood, if you will, or a renaissance of sorts, is entirely possible. American anthropologist Margaret Mead called it a menopausal zest, the rush of physical and psychological energy some women experience after menopause." I'll include a link to the TED Talk by Dr. Mosconi in the blog post. These stories are happening all around us. People are writing books, launching businesses, going back to school, starting podcasts, yes, like this one, and finally doing the things they've always dreamed of. Because menopause isn't just a biological shift. It's a psychological awakening. It's a moment to ask, what do I want the second half of my life to look like? So I invite you to think about your own story. What have you been putting off? What would you do if fear wasn't in the way? What's calling to you now? So now that we've heard the stories, explored the science, and felt the spark, what do we do with it? Menopause is a turning point, and turning points are powerful, but only if we act on them. This is your invitation to reclaim something. It could be your time, your creativity, your health, your voice. It could be a dream you've shelved, a boundary you've been afraid to set, or a truth you've been waiting to speak. Here's a challenge for you. Take 10 minutes this week, just 10, and ask yourself, what do I want more of in my life? What do I want less of? And what am I ready to begin? Write it down. Say it out loud. Share it with someone you trust. or send it to us. We'd love to hear your story. Add it to the comments or email me at mail@runningafever.com. Menopause isn't a pause, it's a pivot, and you get to choose the direction. So whether you're starting a new project, setting a new boundary, or simply choosing to rest, that's power, that's progress, that's you running through the change. And that brings us to the end of this episode and the end of our series, Hot Flashes, Cold Truth. But really, it's just the beginning. Menopause isn't a finish line, it's a threshold, a chance to step into your next chapter with wisdom, courage, and clarity. You've heard stories of emotional shifts, physical changes, relationship changes, and now reinvention. You've learned that this transition is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Because you're not fading, you are evolving. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're just starting to notice changes, deep in the thick of it, or looking back with perspective, know this: you are powerful, you are not alone, and you are absolutely capable of creating something beautiful from this moment forward. Thank you for listening, for sharing, and for showing up for yourself. If this series resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it. And if you have a story to tell, I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep moving, keep growing, and keep running through the change. And remember, if you've got the fever, keep it burning. And if you don't, catch the fever. And I'll see you next time on Running a Fever.